to Bergen County Strong Professional Series. We're really excited to be starting a new video series, Title Talk with Jacquelyn and Rob. So Jacquelyn, first, I just want to say thank you so much for working with me on this project.
No, thank you.
I think we're going to have some very important conversations and pass on a lot of your knowledge on titles and titles insurance. So thank you so very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So let's just go ahead and start right at the beginning. What is title insurance and why is it so important?
Sure. Definitely, arguably one of the most misunderstood types of insurance. So whereas most folks are familiar with insurance safeguarding you from future events, title insurance is actually going to safeguard you from past events. So although you don't think about it too much, most homeowners who have owned, a home for several years probably don't even realize that they purchased a title insurance policy when they initially closed. But for all home buyers, whether you're new or a seasoned, investor, title insurance is in the background one of the most important things you can purchase at your closing. So what the title insurance policy essentially guarantees is for the policyholder, whether it's the borrower or the lender, that the property can be conveyed free and clear of any title encumbrances or title defects. So when the title insurance company gets involved in the beginning of the transaction, there's a couple things that we look out for. We run the searches. We look for any liens or open mortgages. We look for any perhaps easements that are on the property. We also do a judgment search for both the buyer and the seller. We also do a municipal tax and assessment search as well. So we deliver these findings to all parties involved to clear up anything prior to the closing. That way the borrower and the lender, if there is a lender involved, can close on the home knowing that there's no title defects or encumbrances.
Perfect. Maybe you can just go into a little bit more depth of some of the defects that could come up with the titles.
Well, more common items are, most people have an open mortgage on their house. So certainly a lien search is going to discover any open mortgages if there's a line of credit. It also shows you who's actually on title for the home, most recently recorded deeds, if there were any new deeds filed conveying title to other parties outside of a purchase. Federal tax liens, certainly a big one to look out for. If they're back due on their taxes, or if there's a water or sewer assessment or any personal judgments such as credit cards or medical collections or child support, all these items are going to come up. It lets both, attorneys in the northern New Jersey market, we are dealing mostly with attorneys handling the closings and working with our clients, what documents to order in order to discharge those items prior to closing. So when the new purchaser owns the home, they don't have to worry about any of these title defects being passed on to them as the new homeowners.
Okay, perfect. So just out of curiosity, so if somebody buys title insurance and you do that search and something's missed, what happens? How is the homeowner protected in that situation?
Sure. So that's exactly the reason for the title insurance portion of it. So most people might think that if you have a title search, that you can just move forward. I've done my due diligence. I've done the search. I don't need the insurance if everything came up in the search. The title insurance doesn't actually insure the defects on title, but what it insures is any unknown defects to title. So as we know, most of the recordings are, in the counties in New Jersey, especially in Bergen County, although you can record electronically, everything's done manually. So it covers things like misrecorded deeds, misrecorded mortgages, any missed heirs, any misjudgments that have been filed on the property. So anything that is not discovered in the title search or not disclosed, perhaps it's been misindexed with the county, the title insurance covers those items. So it covers the unknown, not necessarily what's been highlighted in the title search that everybody's aware of.
Yeah. And how far back do you end up going when you're doing these searches?
It does depend on the property, but most underwriters, a full search, we would go back 60 years. If there's anything specific, sometimes we're looking for a specific easement that was put on a property, for example, and it's been placed on the property years and years back. We can go back, the searchers can go back as far as the documents are recorded with the counties. So generally we go back full search 60 years. Some underwriters, depending on what documentation we have, will underwrite a policy for just 30 years back.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. And then let me just ask, I know, the real estate markets, we're definitely in unique times right now. Just out of curiosity, what has changed in this market right now with titles and title insurance?
Well, more specifically, the past few years, you're seeing more and more title insurance companies not just do the title work, but we're acting as settlement agent also. So, if you're looking at the northern New Jersey market, really anything besides South Jersey, it's predominantly was always the closings were conducted by attorneys and some
Mhm.
title companies here and there. Several years ago, we had the new TRID regulations that came into effect, and more and more attorneys had transitioned to having the title companies perform settlement as well, and act as the escrow agent. So that in itself has changed the entire closing process. And what I'm seeing now in this, COVID market is
Yeah.
that the way that the closings are being done is a little bit different. So the days of everybody going to the closing and you're pouring champagne and things like that, that's unfortunately not happening now. But I think I probably speak for myself and a lot of the other title companies that have done or do the closings, when I say that we've just had to adjust things and do things that however the client's more comfortable. So that might mean that we're conducting closings outside in a parking lot, or we're limiting the amount of folks at the closings. Some people have felt more comfortable closing in their home or outside on their patio, and we're willing to accommodate anything like that because it's just a new environment for everybody. A couple
Yeah.
of things that I would say just to look out for and just be more diligent now, or that the communication during this time when things are taking a little bit longer. The counties were closed for a certain portion of time. You have folks that are working remotely in all different companies throughout real
Mhm.
estate. So that expectation that things might take a little bit longer, it seems to be leveling out a little bit now, but it's not running at full speed like it used to. So
Yeah.
just making sure you're communicating with your team, whether it's your realtor or your attorneys and your mortgage broker and your title representative, that everyone's on the same page and they're sharing information with each other to kind of get you through that transaction and manage those expectations as best as possible.
Yeah, that's great advice. I remember just recently just trying to get the CO for a property that I was working on. And I went down to Pagoda Building Department 5 or 6 times,
Yeah,
and I'm just waiting outside. And I just remembered it took a 1 week just to get that one document
sure,
for a property that I was working on.
sure.
I'd like to ask just real quick, is there a lot of fluctuation in the cost between title companies? And I guess this would be a good opportunity for you just to talk about what the services that you're able to provide clients.
Sure. So we are a title insurance and settlement agent in New Jersey. We actually do service New York and Pennsylvania as well. We have 6 offices throughout New Jersey, but of course, as far as the closing, we really close anywhere that is more convenient for the clients. We go to people's homes, or they can have in one of our offices. We do a lot of the closings, not just in the attorney's offices, but also in the broker's offices as well. We've closed in Starbucks before, so it's really whatever, wherever people are willing to go. But we service certainly service all of New Jersey, and we do everything from REO to foreclosure properties to just a regular home purchase, and certainly right now in today's market, a lot of refinances as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
As far as the title insurance costs, all states regulate their departments of banking will regulate the title insurance rates. So New Jersey specifically, you could go to 3 different title companies, and if you're just getting a regular standard policy, regular purchase, that every title insurance company is going to be required to charge the same amount for that insurance. So we are regulated by those standards. So if you're shopping title insurance rates, that's not necessarily something that happens. It's not similar to other types of insurance. And even with the other costs, like the title searches and the settlement portion, we're all within a regulation that we have to follow. So if someone's shopping title insurance companies, you're really not going to see much, you know, change between the different companies, and certainly not with the title insurance.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're talking a lot about, choose the title company based on the service that you're going to get.
Correct. So service and relationship. I just I can't stress enough. If I'm always accessible. I'm sure most people in real estate could say the same thing, that their phone's always on them. But just more important to have someone who is going to keep an open line of communication with you and walk you through that process.
Yeah, sounds great. And I do like how when you brought up doing a closing at Starbucks, it's amazing what we're able to do in this digital world right now.
Hmm. Absolutely.
which I just thought was a neat thing that
Um,
you brought up.
One other thing I did want to mention that we are seeing more and more, and it was a little bit more prevalent back in the
Mhm.
spring when they passed some legislation about electronic signatures. So in New Jersey, we do still, all the counties require wet signatures, original signatures, recording a deed and your mortgage in the county. But more and more lenders now are doing these hybrid closings, which has really been a very good tool for clients who
Mhm.
were, at the closing table. So they're signing a lot of their disclosures online prior to the closing. And then the day of the closing, you just have the original of required wet signature documents. So it's cutting the closing time in easily in half,
Yeah.
where I used to have 100 pages to sign, maybe you have 50. So we are definitely, that's a big change that we're seeing now, post or, during COVID as well. And it's been a good addition to the closing process. It's definitely sped it up a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to continue after going into next year after we get past this COVID world that we're living in?
I
Or do you
think
think it will?
so. I saw some, I mean, specifically, I saw some lenders and certainly some of our documents. We were already going down that road, so to speak, because they were looking for more of a convenience factor. And I think that will continue. Maybe not fully electronic, at least not
Yeah.
for some time. But in my opinion, I think that they will continue at least with the hybrid closings
Oh,
post COVID.
okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Jacquelyn. I really enjoyed the conversation. I'm going to be looking forward to continuing this conversation in the future with you. And I'd just like to say for anyone who's watching this video, if you have any questions or if you need any clarification on anything that we talked about, please feel very comfortable reaching out to both Jacquelyn and myself, and we would be very happy to answer those questions for you. So thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Jacquelyn.
Thank you.